Good morning. My name is Melissa, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the CA DevTest Community Webcast. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question-and-answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you. I would now like to turn the call over to Stefana Muller.
Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Long time no speak. It's been just 2 weeks, I think. It's Stefana Muller. I'm your product manager for CA Service Virtualization, and today we're going to be hosting our DevTest User Community Webcast, and we're going to be focusing on the topic of 8.0, which is the next release of our CA Service Virtualization application test and Pathfinder products. And I'm going to talk a little bit about product naming changes and features and things like that. So let me move forward onto the deck so I can give you a bit of the agenda. Again, a lot of the focus of this call is going to be on what's new in 8.0 and what we're going to preview for you at CA World. 8.0 is not GA yet. I'm giving you some information that is not publicly available and now will be after this call, so you're the first to see it. So buckle down and let's get into the material here. I want to present this disclaimer. It's really important for you to understand that any of the material presented here may not be committed into a release. Although we are intending on having the majority of the features that I talk about in the release, we will not be committing them into a release until likely the end of this year. So keep that in mind. In addition to that, we don't make any assumptions that everything will get in. Okay, it's something that I have to say because, as you know, in an agile development process, things can change at any time. Okay, our agenda. I'm going to go through a bit of introduction. I have a few other people on the call that may speak up, so I'll go through their names and who they are. And then we're going to go through product renaming. I think it's important for you as a community member to know what names we're going to be using in the future. So if you ever hear of a change in name, you know. In addition to that, I'm going to go through the high-level review of the notable enhancements. So this is a lot of text. I can't show you everything yet, but that's the whole reason for you to come to CA World. So I'll spend a lot of time on just kind of reviewing some of those notable enhancements, what they are and why they're important to you, and then going into the DevTest portal preview. So I'm actually going to preview one feature, give you a high level of what the DevTest portal is. And last but not least, which will probably be a lot of our session today, is I'm going to give you a review of what to expect at CA World and which sessions to look for. Because I think as a customer of the DevTest team here, we want you to know where we're going to be and what we're going to be presenting so that you can find value at that conference. Okay. As we move forward, I like this slide. It's one of my favorites. I found pictures of everyone posted out on social media with Lisa. As you all know, we're running this campaign to sunset the name of Lisa, saying goodbye to Lisa, and the campaign is called Selfie with Lisa. A little bit of fun for you, as you can see here, the majority of our team internally and a few of our customers too have participated, and I do recommend that you do as well, because you will not see the Lisa name post 8.0, and I know that you will be sad to see her go. Okay, so just a review of the names here. Lisa Service Virtualization, which was called IPKO. People pretty much use the company name as the name of the product, or VSE, or Lisa Virtualized. Those are some of the old names of Lisa Service Virtualization. It is now called CA Service Virtualization. As you can see at the top of our screen also, the Lisa name has been sunset, and we're going to be using the term DevTest to describe these three solutions here. So they're kind of in the DevTest realm. They're pretty much tools for the developers and QA testers in your organization. So that's where we came up with that name. It's a well-known term in the industry and nothing that we made up. On the left side of the screen here as well, you have the Lisa Test product that is now called CA Application Test. That product is part of Service Virtualization and will be obviously part of it's sold on its own as well, so you can have a license just for the test portion. And then Lisa Pathfinder or CA Pathfinder, that name is recently changed, and you are the first customers to hear this new name. I just want to put that out there because you're going to be looking for Pathfinder and not know where it is. The new name is CA Continuous Application Insight, and that was just recently announced, and we will be changing some of the terminology on our community. I wanted you to be aware. Now, one of the things that I think is really important is that we get feedback from you, not just on the product names, but also how these products are doing in your organization. We have a survey for our CA Service Virtualization product, and we'd really like for all of you to participate in that. Mary's going to put it in the chat for everyone, so if you could click on that link and save it to the end of the call. It's about 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes to go through this survey. It is for customers only, so if you are a CA employee, please don't click through the link. Mary, if you could just go and post that chat, we'll let everybody have access to that link for after the call. Okay, highlights. This is where the meat is, everyone. This is the features that you're going to see in 8.0, hopefully, right? All of this stuff that we're working to get into our beta release, and beta is going to I think it's scheduled to start tomorrow, which is Wednesday. So with beta starting tomorrow, if you're not part of the beta program and want to be part of this program, go out to our community. There's tons of information on how to register and sign our agreements. We are always looking to add more customers. I have to tell you, we do have a large beta group this year, the largest we've ever had. I think there's over 50 individual testers outside of CA and over 60 inside. What I mean by that is people who are not part of development and QA who are touching this product is immense before GA, so it's a very good number. So if you'd like to join that, please go out to the community, ask the question if you can't find the post, but it's out there as well. There's a post with instructions. So going through the products features, and I covered Service Virtualization 8.0 here and the products that are included within that. So Service Virtualization, Application Test, and Application Test for Mobile. One of the key things that you're going to see in the next release is that we completely created a new user interface to make the process of creating and editing and managing your assets and resources much easier. So that new user interface goes across all of our products here, and it's called the new DevTest portal. And I'll show you a picture of the DevTest portal in a little bit, but most of the things that I'm going to mention here are integrated into the new DevTest portal, which makes it really a key feature for you to see. So I'm going to focus over on the left side of our screen right now and talk about Service Virtualization. So Service Virtualization has some really cool features. The first one, if you could see here, is the new server-side recorder. One of the things that you told us as customers is that you wanted the ability to not have to install to use Service Virtualization. So now we have a single shared install that allows you to use this as a team and record virtual services and deploy them automatically without any need for install of the workstation. It is a browser-based UI. You can run it on a server somewhere. Again, key for when you're trying to populate out virtualized services to multiple groups or even have multiple groups record them. There's a lot of features in the new server-side recorder that make this recording easy. I'm going to talk through them, but I can't wait till you get to CA World so you can see some of them. I have to say, I just presented them internally and the team was cheering. So a few things I know you can see today. Recording a virtual service may take 10 or 11 steps and lots of features and functions in between to make it a little difficult for newer users. In our new feature, in our new server-side recorder, you'll be able to record in 3 steps. And you'll also be able to modify that recording right afterwards in the service image editor. So, or you can go straight into deploying. So this is, again, very simple, 3 steps. I did it yesterday for one of our executives, and it took less than a minute to finish the process of recording. It's definitely a cool functionality. I can't wait to release it to you. The next area is the service image editor. Now, I'll be honest, there's a lot of our customers in the community that say, hey, how do I edit a service image? How do I change it, add something, delete something? How do I find the match in the service image? It's difficult. It's hard to see. We completely renovated the service image editor in this new release. We're allowing you to do advanced searching, request response matching. If you have a request, paste it in and find the response immediately without having to go through tons of information in your service image to find what that match is. In addition to that, we added annotations to the service image editor. So what does that mean? That means now you can add notes to your transactions so that you can search those notes later and go back to where you were, or maybe put a note there and link to it to another team member so that you can send them to that same area within the service image so that you can share information. I think this is key for collaboration between teams, and I know you guys have been telling me this forever on the community is, how do I share this with the QA team versus the dev team versus everyone else? Now, with the new service-side recorder and service image editor, you're going to get a lot more functionality. Okay. Some of the great new features here are actually bullets 3 and 4 on my left side of the screen. Learning mode. Learning mode is going to be a new execution mode that automatically learns the differences between existing virtual service and live system. And it will apply those differences automatically for you. So that is model healing automated. For those of you who are existing users that have been around for a while, learning mode is a key functionality. And I think our developer of learning mode is on this call today, and he's probably going, tell them about everything else. Well, we also have some additional execution modes. So it's not just that learning mode, but we have the ability to fail over and fall through. So the pass-through mode that we've enhanced is allowing you to say, hey, I'm going to respond with the virtual service, but if there isn't a response in the virtual service, I want that to go to the live system. So now you're able to use both live system and virtual service at the same time without changing the back end. I think that's key for your environments, right? I have heard this from everyone. The other execution mode that's part of this enhancement is called failover. So the failover mode is I'm responding from a live service, and the live service doesn't have the answer for me. It can fail over to the virtual service. So again, learning mode and the other 2 new execution modes are really going to help you execute your virtual services within an engineering department. Opaque data processing. This is cool. I just leaked this information today on our community. I hope you all saw it. We have some interesting functionality going into 8.0 that is, again, a patented technology that adds artificial intelligence to creating virtual services. I'm going to defer you all to the blog because I want you to read a little more about it, and I'm going to hint to you that instead of using data protocol handlers in the future, we're going to be using opaque data processing. We're going to be using the ability for you to find differences and similarities within transactions and match them at the byte level. Cool stuff. Okay, moving forward, my colleague Ian, who is also on the call today, Ian Kelly, has put in some new functionality into the product as well on the protocol support side. He's added WADL, RAML, and enhanced the REST and SWIFT support options. So if you aren't using OPEG, which is the new technology, you'll be using these import abilities from import from a WADL or create from a RAML, and also enabling enhanced REST support so that there are less errors with matching requests there. And in addition to that, as many of you know who are in the financial industry, SWIFT does an update, I think, once every 6 months. So we'll be implementing their protocol enhancements in this release. Okay, so I went through service virtualization. I failed in the beginning of this call to ask you if you have any questions to use the Q&A panel on the right side of the screen. So I want to make sure that you're all asking your questions. We have Ian on the line. We have Chris Kraus on the line. They're there to answer your questions as they come in. Please do. And I hope that you'll be able to see that. Mary, if you could, I don't see in the chat, but if you could put the link in the chat, I don't see it right now. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to application tests. So the features in application test are enhanced as well. So not only did we use the new UI for application tests, but we enhanced the workstation as well. So now with the workstation you have in Lisa Workstation, or we're calling DevTest Workstation in the future, the application test feature of JSON assertions and filters. So you can actually use JSON to write out assertions or find information through the filter. So this is a cool new functionality. Again, for your existing users that have been using product for a while, they're going to need this, and they've been asking for it for a while. And I think it even was a request in our community, so you know we are listening to you. As you can see, we comment on things, and we've been delivering on them. But two new things that I'd like to point out here, there's two new things that are in the new user interface, the rapid API testing and the execute and monitor and triage tests and test cases and failures. So these two new areas are in the DevTest portal that allow you to create an API test through RR pairs very quickly and easily. And the second item here is the ability for you to execute a bunch of tests and monitor them through the new DevTest portal. So you don't need Lisa Workstation to run tests. You can run them through the DevTest portal and collaborate with others there by triaging issues and finding failures in one location. In addition to that, bullet right up above is the improved management of the Selenium-based UI test scripts. So if you've been using our Selenium integration, we've enhanced that significantly, allowing you to add properties and things like that to your Selenium scripts. Okay, on to the right side of the screen, and this is some cool stuff from Ian. And Ian, you don't mind if you would like to chime in, you can. I don't want to steal your thunder here, but to move forward on this, the new mobile test lab allows you to leverage groups of mostly, I would say, the coolest thing is the physical devices all hosted within your local network. So you don't have to use cloud-based services here. You can actually have a locally physical devices, emulators, and simulators that a team, say, for instance, a team in India who's doing your testing, or a team in the US who's doing your testing that doesn't have devices on site, they can connect through the local area network to get access to those devices, the emulators, and simulators, so that you can actually manage your emulators, simulators, and devices in one location and not have to ship them around the world. Voyager is the next feature, and I really like this. So it's a crawler. This, let me give you an example of why this is important. And Ian actually does a blog on this as well, so you can get more information on Voyager in his blog, and I believe he even did a demo on our community recently. So the Voyager functionality allows you to crawl your application and explore screens to create tests automatically. This is really important. Let me point this out. A lot of you who are creating mobile apps today are likely outsourcing the creation of your mobile app, right? So what happens is when you're outsourcing that creation of the mobile app, you have, it comes back in, and maybe you have a mobile app developer on site that's going to go and add small enhancements over time. But how do you test this mobile app? Somebody else created it. They didn't hand over automated test cases, I'm sure, with their contract, right? So now you're given an app, you have to maintain it, you probably have one or two developers that are able to develop the mobile app, but they don't have any ability to test it, and I have to go and create their automated test cases. Well, with Voyager, that can explore the application and crawl that application itself and create those initial automated test cases. I think that's key, especially when you're in the app development realm where you're outsourcing many of your app development efforts. And then last but not least, your mobile test generator. So mobile test generator, it creates the tests from Voyager. So the Voyager will crawl your app and find navigation flow, and then the mobile test generator actually creates the test and finds the ability for success and failure scenarios. So you can actually do negative testing through the Voyager app. Okay. I know, lots of text on screen, but I promise you, if you come to CA World, you'll be seeing a lot of the user interface and so on. I'm actually going to, Chris, do you want to walk through some of this, or you want me to do it?
I'll walk through them. So what we've done is we've taken a different approach to Pathfinder. In the past, Pathfinder was like, hey, here's a whole bunch of transactions. Look, you can just start playing with them and figuring out what's going on. But what we've done is we've looked at the workflows that customers are using and figured out how do we enhance those. So one of the new things is the new ticket generation workflow. So we, in the past, you kind of did your alt-click in the UI, and you knew there was a database entry put in Pathfinder, but we didn't really walk you through a very good workflow for looking at the defect, identifying it, easily adding comments to it, and changing the status. So the core data is the same, but we've actually put a better UI in front of it to walk you through the steps and make it easier to search for, do I have new tickets that are open, are they identified, or are they closed? Now, the defects workflow is really kind of cool. What we've done here is started looking at what analytics or different information our customers interested to find their defects. So a great example is, you know that there's error messages written, say, in log4j in the log files, but you have a 12 gig log file, and then you know it happened at some point yesterday. Well, how do you find the exact code or class that wrote that log message? Well, now we have full text searching within Pathfinder, so you can actually go enter the log messages you're interested in. We will find and identify the actual, say, SOAP message or EJB or, say, Spring Bean or what have you that wrote that message out. So you can see who's writing log messages and find them by text. The other thing is, a lot of times we have exceptions within our code, and we kind of gobble them up, and we don't do anything with them. So now you can actually annotate or highlight across your paths any code that threw an exception, and you may just want to scan those and say, okay, are these really benign? Am I wasting time logging this message all the time? Should I capture it and move on? Things like that. So those are things that we think will, as the starting of a whole bunch of new features that let you find defects. Now, the other thing is, we know that one of the biggest problems with these highly distributed and heterogeneous applications is each little component adds up to the overall customer experience or response time. So what you can now do is with your test data, while you've been running all your test transactions and building your application, you can actually ask for a metric overlay and say, show me all of my code that had the response time in the 95th percentile. Because I should probably go look at those, because if it's running really slow when I'm developing it, the chances it runs really fast in production is not so good. So let's start looking at the relative response times in test to predict what we'll have in the future. Okay? And then the last feature is super cool, 100% new feature called DocGen Workflow. So one of our biggest problems with automation, whether it's building API tests or actually just understanding how to invoke and verify, say, the database layer of a modern application, is everything behind the UI is a black box. So what we want to do is figure out how to show you what's happening behind the scenes. So what you can do is say, activate DocGen, and then start testing, running your manual test, and say stop, and we'll capture all the paths that you started or initiated by your manual test and show you, oh, this went to this web server, it was implemented by a web service, hosted on it, say, remote EJB, it hit the message bus and went to the mainframe and so forth. So we'll actually document the architecture and all the calls that it took to create that UI screen. Then you can actually go automate your API testing at that point, or you can actually do proper invoke and verify. You would know, hey, the data on this page actually ended up in this Oracle database or this DB2 database, and that's where I need to go verify this. So super cool. And the idea is we want to take that black box testing and make it more gray box testing so we can actually understand how to invoke and verify. Within the agents themselves, in Lisa 7.5, we put agent calibration into the workstation, and it was a little bit hard to use. Wasn't as intuitive as it should have been. So we looked at that. We know it's a great thing to bring the agents up very quietly and then increase their verbosity or their ability to capture more and more data. We've moved that into the new UI. So now the web UI has the same functionality, just a lot easier to use. And you can now search agents and do different things to make it easy to monitor and manage them. We also put in some new VSE companions. So what we find is people really are using virtual services to shield themselves from, say, third-party systems or parallel development. And the first thing customers ask is, well, if I'm not testing against that real system in DevTest, how do I know they didn't change something and I get into system integration tests and everything blows up? So what we simply said was, hey, why don't we log all those requests to your virtual service and the data that came back, and we will then generate new baseline tests to replay those exact transactions, say against the trading partner system or against, say, another division of the company's systems, and you can verify that their virtual service and the real system are lining up. So that way you can vet those or generate your API tests very quickly. The other thing is we've expanded and we've got new Splunk integration. We find people are very interested in Splunking their applications, whether it's logging metrics about the applications or data, where you can now from the web console say import from Splunk, put in your query, and we'll look for your request response payloads that you've put into there and push them into Pathfinder so you get more data. Think about more information about that black box that you're testing. Okay? And the last thing, which is always happening, is expanded support matrix. So as you know, every time WebSphere, WebLogic, JBoss, TIBCO, those guys update their applications and add new functionality, we go back and we certify with the Pathfinder agents, the CAI agents, and say, okay, how can we make sure that we get the full data, we understand their SOAP stacks, we understand their REST stacks, and all those things. So we've done a lot of just core testing. It's pretty impressive. We've used service virtualization, we've used Lisa Test, we've used the traditional Pathfinder and release automation, and we run 1,500 regression tests every night just on these platforms to make sure that the web services are working, the REST calls are working, the database virtualization is working, and all those things. So the expanded support also drug along full automation, and so we have a great example if you want to know how to use the release automation product with your service virtualization, your Lisa application test, and your continuous application insight. And I probably got Lisa in there in test, sorry.
That's okay. We have Pathfinder on the screen too, so we've got to modify all of our naming here.
Okay, so that's it for the insight highlights.
Thanks so much, Chris. I appreciate you going through that. We are moving on now. Before I move on to getting into CA World and giving you a demo of the DevTest portal, or showing you some of the screens, I'd like to ask you a question. And Mary, could you put up the poll question, the first poll question that we have? So the first poll question is just very simple. Are you attending CA World 2014? And it's next month, so I'd hope you are attending, or if you think you're attending, I hope you already know. If you could go and answer on the right side of your screen. And as that poll is happening, I'm going to continue talking about the DevTest portal. Again, very simple poll, are you attending CA World? Obviously, I don't get all of the reports of who's attending. It's really good to see who will be there so I can tailor our content to you. Okay, so going to the DevTest portal, I mentioned this a bunch of times. Chris mentioned it. It's going to be on his product as well. So if I go forward into the DevTest portal, here's just a preview of what it is. What we did with the DevTest portal is that we took some of the major functionality that's in Lisa Workstation today, and we created a new user interface for users that is web browser-based, that does not require you to, it doesn't require you to install. It can be server located, so one install, multiple users, and allowing you to get access to all your functionality in Lisa. So keep in mind, the Lisa Workstation will exist. We're not getting rid of it. Matter of fact, I think we call it the DevTest Workstation. So we just changed the name. It will exist as it does today because I know a lot of you are power users and are going to use a lot of the functionality. But over time, we're going to be moving a lot of the functionality from the current workstation over to the DevTest portal. And that's obviously one of the biggest things that we're launching in 8.0. I want to keep this in mind, and we didn't just create this DevTest portal out of the whim of our product management team. A lot of this is attributed to your feedback. We had over 50 customers meet with us on a one-on-one basis and give feedback on the user interface over time. We had feedback from our own team within CEA that use the technology on a day-to-day basis. We had feedback from analysts. We had feedback from pretty much everyone that could give feedback, we had feedback from. So I think I'm really excited to present to you the new DevTest portal. In addition to the DevTest portal, here's just a more zoomed-in view. As you can see, you're going to start on this landing page here, a few of the statistics overall that you should see. You also have a few different menus on the left navigation. Create is where you're going to create your virtual services or do your recordings. Manage is where you're going to edit something that's existing. Monitor, this is what we talked about from the testing portion, allowing your teams to monitor their tests. And application insight, that's what Chris just went through. You also have the settings that will be at the bottom, and it actually changed in the beta. It's now going to be called settings that allow you to configure your agents and change some of the settings that you may have. Very, very new technology. I'm really excited to present to you. I hope you can join us at CA World to see it. Okay, I'm going to move forward and move up because I think it's really important for you to see what we're going to be doing at CA World. So before I get to the what we're going to be doing at CA World, let's ask our next question. I think it might be relevant right now. So Mary, are we able to do the next poll? Okay, so this is a really important one for us. So product managers really want to know who's in our community today. What do you do for your company? I mean, what is your role? Because this also will help us tailor the content for other sessions like this, as well as the sessions at CA World. So are you an implementer? Are you hands-on? Are you doing the work on the floor? I consider a lot of us implementers. We're pretty much hands-on keyboards. Are you a team lead? You're doing some hands-on, maybe you're a scrum master, maybe you're doing some coding, but mostly leading a team of people. Or are you a manager and you don't do anything hands-on? So you're not really coding ever. You might be doing some reviews, but mostly managing a larger team of people. So if you can answer that question, and on the poll on the right, we're giving you about 2 minutes to answer the question. So I'll answer it so I can move forward, but you have some time to choose your setting here. Obviously, if we were hearing from more implementers, we're going to do more technical training and more focused messaging here. If we're hearing from more managers, we may elevate the message a bit to give you a more understanding of how you can deploy our product across your teams. So that's the reason for that question. All right, now let's get into DevTest for CA World, because I think if you're not going, you better be. How's that? That's Stefana putting her foot down. We need you at CA World because you're going to be so excited about the things we have to present. So I just threw up one slide here on the CA World agenda. The agenda is out there for you to see. A really quick way to get to the CA World agenda is go to caworld.com. It actually redirects to the site. So we own that domain, caworld.com, and it will redirect to the site that you need to get to. And then you can click the agenda on the left navigation. I'm going to show you the site in a minute. I'm going to share my browser, and then you'll be able to see it. Okay. Sorry, give me 1 second. It's taking a second to move forward. There we go, pre-conference session. So as we just saw, Sunday has pre-conference sessions. So in my mind, the conference doesn't start Monday. It starts Sunday. So if you're planning on coming, please come on Sunday, because this is where you're going to get the meat of your content. All you implementers and even your team leads are going to want to go to these sessions. Chris, myself, Ian, our team member Arpi, our team member Arif, we're all going to be presenting pre-conference training sessions for you. Free, part of your admission to CA World, and what we're going to do is from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. cover a slew of information, giving you just a short lunch break in between where you can pin us with questions if you'd like. So each of these sessions are from 30 to 60 minutes long. Again, delivered by the product management team that you've probably only known over the internet so far, so you'll be able to meet us firsthand. We do ask that you register for pre-conference sessions. This way we know if there's enough attendees and that we should run the session or consolidate. I would like to see everyone here. If you've never talked about service virtualization before, join this first session here at 9 a.m. I think this is key. Chris has a fun way of going through why do I need service virtualization, and he'll give you a quick overview of where to apply it within your environment and how to apply it in team. So I think this first session, it can apply to that implementer, it can apply to the team lead, and it can still apply to the manager as well. So even if you're a higher level manager that doesn't do the hands-on keyboard, I think Service Virtualization 101 is great. Okay, the second session, 10 a.m. to 11, is API testing, and I think Ian's doing this one. It might be Ian or it might be RF, but we're going to be going through what is API testing and these new REST APIs, creating the API economy, and how do I validate. So this is a cool session giving you an overview of testing APIs and really helping you understand how our products alleviate some of the pressures here. Okay, and again, it's technical training. It's not just going to go through a high level on that one. If you go to the next session, it's a DevTest user interface, and I think it's Chris and myself, it may be a group of us going through the new user interface that you saw previously. We're going to go into depth here to show you how that has changed and our new server architecture has changed. We have some changes in licensing and so on that I think are really important for our existing customers and even our new customers. Then we allow you to eat. I'll move forward. 1 p.m., I'm going to go through what's new in Service Virtualization 8.0. So I went through that today on the call. If you want to see any of those features and functions, that is the session to go to. Of course, during CA World, we'll have demos of everything, but this will go into depth. I'm going to demo everything live. I hope you attend. 2 p.m., we're going to go through Continuous Application Insight, which is Pathfinder, and they're going to go in depth there. At the same time, I'm going to dive a little deeper into SAP. So SAP testing and service virtualization, I will dive deeper into that at the same time. So you kind of have to choose if you want to speak to Chris or you want to speak to me. 3 p.m., we're going to go into how to test mobile applications, and Ian's going to go into depth there. If you haven't seen it so far, he's posting a mobile testing Monday every Monday up until CA World to give you teasers into what you should expect in this session. So I really do hope you get to see that. And then last but not least, we're going to go through the enterprise dashboard. And I would imagine this is more for the administrator of LISA, or now it's called CA Service Virtualization. So if you're administrating the product and pretty much own it for your company or have to manage it, enterprise dashboard is for you, and we want to show you what features are in that component. Okay, I hope I didn't get into too much detail here that wasn't valuable, but I really, as I said, I want you to be able to register for these sessions now while it's still open, because the sessions will close, and then they'll close if we have too many attendees, and they'll close if we don't have enough attendees. So you have to register early. So please go out there and create your agenda now. I will show you where that is in a moment. Okay, I'm going to now share with you my screen. So as we're going through this share here, I'm going to ask that my team please continue to answer questions in the Q&A panel, because we're running out of time as usual. Stefana talks a lot, and I want to make sure that our questions and answers are answered. If we do have questions post this call, you all know that I'm out on the community almost every day, so you can ask the question there. And if you really want to get my attention, tag me in your post. Okay. I'm going to give you this layout. You have access to this site. Remember we just talked about that? Go to caworld.com and it will redirect to the CA World site. And here's the layout of the land. Where is our product? Where is the DevTest area? It's right here. It's called CA Devcenter. Okay, I wanted you all to know that because it's not intuitive. It might be confusing. Chris and I went through and did like a short recording. Not many people saw it, so I'm saying it now. CA Devcenter is where you want to go. So if you're going to be using filters in the agenda for CA World, you're going to want to select CA Devcenter, and you'll see all of our sessions there. In this interactive map, it shows you a few different things. There are Cineplex sessions in each of the areas. So if you want some of the big presentations that they usually do off the floor, they're actually going to be in the session area. So this is actually cool. You don't have to leave. You don't have to walk away. You can, see a demo from Stefana over here and then walk over here and see my boss, Rajiv, present the latest in our technology. Okay. The sponsor booths, so a bunch of sponsors will be exhibiting within our booth, so definitely take a look at them as well. And let's see, the innovation showcases, what is that? Those are the demo booths. So if you're going to see a demo, They're here. They're about 5 to 10-minute demos. We can do them shorter if you need, but you can really talk to the experts. Guess who's there staffing those demo booths? It's our developers. It's our technical sales team, the team that, implements proof of concepts. It's me. It's me, Chris, Ian. It's our product management team. So you're really getting an in-depth knowledge here at the innovation showcases. Okay, let's move forward. The other area that I think is important to reach out and talk about is the Meet the Experts bar. So the Meet the Experts area is going to have our support staff that you talk to every day. It's going to have our SWAT team members that help out when there's, tricky situations. Go there and you can talk to someone. They might be able to help you resolve an issue or direct you to the right demos. The experts will be there. They know this product in and out. Okay, I wanted to give you that overview because I know it can get confusing when there's just this huge conference. Where do I need to go? What do I need to see? What is it that's important to me? And let me stop sharing my screen now. I'm going to actually go back to the slides and show you some of the demos. So we're going to be doing demos on pretty much everything that we're training on. So if you miss the pre-conference training, you can get a demo, but like I said, it's not going to be as in-depth, so don't miss that pre-conference session. But here's a list of the demos that we'll be doing. They're called innovation showcases. We like to make our terminology expensive. If you go here at the bottom of the list, last but not least, I wanted to point this out. We're launching a new technology at CA World called the Virtual API Cloud. And the first look you'll have to this is at CA World, both in the demo booth and in the Devcenter. Okay, so there's two things happening in on each day within the floor. So you've got your demos, you've got your Meet the Experts, but you also have Cineplex sessions. So the Cineplex sessions are what I said, those big presentations. You've got lots of people, up to 300 people can sit there, and they're on the floor. So that means you don't have to leave, you don't have to walk too far in Vegas. And we have tons of things going on there. Like I mentioned, Ian's virtual API sessions at 12:30. Don't miss it because it's during lunch. Bring your lunch back to here. You want to hear what we're doing with our new offering in the cloud. Okay, moving forward, there's a bunch of things going on. We have a bunch of customers presenting. We even have some off-the-floor sessions to talk about some of the detail that we did go through in pre-conference. So if you're unable to fly in on Sunday, I understand you can go to some of the off-floor sessions. But of course, we want you to stay within the booth area because there's a lot of excitement going on there. On Tuesday, we have some Cineplex sessions as well. That's the bulk of our Cineplex sessions is on Tuesday. So you're going to see American Family, which is a customer of ours. You're going to see AutoTrader, DirecTV, Syntel, all of these customers and partners of ours presenting how they use the product and what helps for them. I think this is key because you're not going to be hearing from us anymore, right? You heard from me constantly. You're probably annoyed by my voice. At this point, you're going to be hearing from Jeff from American Family and the rest of our team here that use our product for either they're new to it or they've been using it for years. And so we'll have a good spread there. On the off-floor sessions, if you've seen some of this stuff and want to go to the off-floor sessions, there's a few things here. How to keep up with automation, the new state of the art for mobile, that's a key. Virtualizing the subject matter expert in OPEG. Remember I mentioned OPEG earlier and I said it's really highly patented technology. This is where you can get all the details on OPEG data processing. Performance testing in modern applications, that's another area that's cool. Okay, moving on to Wednesday, because Wednesday still exists. And by the way, it'll be the least busy on the demo floor. So that's probably when you want to be sitting down with our experts and getting your in-depth demos on Wednesday before 12 p.m. We also have two Cineplex sessions. One is the TD Bank case study, and they're going to go through how they used our product for performance and functional testing. And the other is Teresa Lenowitz, who is an analyst and she's going to go through some of this market snapshot preview of this report that we've recently run on service virtualization. This will be the first time you see that market report. So I think it's really cool, and not only that, it'll be really valuable for you to understand where this market is going for both your management team and for yourself. Okay, so I mentioned earlier we have booths from our sponsors. We have our one-on-one meetings. You can meet with our experts and our executives in a private session if you'd like. We have Meet the Experts on the floor. I know I sound like I'm pitching as if I'm in marketing, but I hope that you understand that there's a lot of value here at CA World. And if you're not able to attend, but you can have maybe one of your team members attend, I'd appreciate it. You let us know. You get $200 off for being a community member as well. So go out to the community, find the community member discount, and get registered right away, because we want you to fill up those sessions right away. I don't want to have them filled up and then our community members missing out on good information. So where can you go for more information? We've got about 10 minutes left, and I want to take verbal Q&A. So while I'm going through the more information, I would like to do the last poll. So Mary, can we do the last poll? Okay, so I just went through a ton of presentations. I can change this agenda if we feel that our community wants more or less, right? Or they want something new. So if you're not seeing the content you'd like, please give us some feedback on which content you'd appreciate more at CA World. I'm willing to change things up, even though I finished all our presentations, and we can definitely shift things around. In addition to that, I can set up one-on-one meetings with you to get technical deep dives. So take a look at these options on the right hand of the screen. What type of presentations would you appreciate most at CA World? Do you want the deep technical examinations of the problems or solutions? Do you want wide-ranging coverage of technical problems and solutions, or do you want the big picture on how to solve your company's problems? So I guess it kind of relates to the roles that you play in your organization as well. We'd like to hear what is the best for you, what's most valuable for you to find at this conference. Just to note, if you're not going to CA World, and you still want to answer these questions, you can. I think it's valuable for us to know what would make you want to get here next year, because we will be running this CA World every year. Okay, that will remain open for about 2 minutes. I'll let you continue that. I will go to Q&A in a moment. Before I do that, I wanted to mention to you where you can go for more information about CA World, the new features in 8.0, everything we talked about today. You should all know this already. I think the only reason you're on this call is because you're part of our amazing community out there, and I really thank you for that. The DevTest community, which we did change the name of recently, if you didn't catch it used to be Lisa, but now it's DevTest community. Under content, if you see here at the top of the screen, there's a content area. You can click on blog posts, and you'll see a bunch of blog posts that are teasers for CA World, meaning they're giving you some insight into the product that you might not have seen before. Comment on those, ask questions. We'll be willing to share with you some more information that maybe might not be available in the post itself. So as you can see here, the one I talked about, opaque data processing, is right here at the top. That was published last night. Ian published Mobile Testing Mondays. There's 6 of those so far. RF published some stuff on test. You're going to see tons of information. And of course, I'm going to plug our Selfie with Lisa blog post. This is where you post your Selfie with Lisa. We'll definitely be highlighting you at CA World if you post here. Please take a picture of yourself. We want to get to know you a little bit better, and take a picture with some old Lisa stuff. We'd be happy to post it here. You can post it here, and we can promote it via social media. It's just a fun way for us to engage. Okay. And here's the last slide, which is our product management team and our selfies with Lisa, by the way. I didn't get to update Rajiv because he sent it in just recently, but Rajiv is our boss, and he posted his selfie with Lisa. It's out on Twitter. Chris Kraus is here, and you know him. He's the CA Continuous Application Insight Product Manager, which is Pathfinder. Ian Kelly, who's also on the phone today, helps us put together a lot of the polls. He's doing mobile tasks, invoke APIs, protocols. He's got lots of insight, and he's also doing the virtual API cloud, which again, is launched at CA World. So that's a really cool new technology. Arif Muhammad is our CA Application Test Product Manager. He works alongside me with CA Service Virtualization, and that's me over here. And then you have Arpi, who fell asleep on his Lisa. But Arpi is our product manager who works alongside Chris on the CA Continuous Application Insight. Okay, I went through all my slides, guys. I'm at the end. I know that you have a lot of questions that aren't answered yet. So if we could take questions on the phone, we have about 6 minutes left. Operator, would you be able to open up the lines for questions?
Yes, ma'am. To ask an audio question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad. That is *1 to ask a question.
As we're pulling in those questions, we'll try to answer some of the questions in the Q&A panel verbally. Let me take a look at one. Chris is answering a few. So Chris, there was a question for Waddle support. Yes, we'll be supporting Waddle in the new release. Okay, let's move up to the top. I'm gonna scroll up to the top. I have a few funny ones. The learning mode question. So there was a question on learning mode, what the 3 modes were. I posted the answers here. You guys can take a look. I'll be posting more information out on the community with additional blogs as we move through our beta period. Right now, there are 3 modes that we're introducing: stand-in, failover, and learning mode. So take a look at the descriptions out there. They're out in the Q&A panel on the right-hand side of your screen. Are there any verbal questions?
There's no audio questions at this time.
Okay. Just a question for Mary. Mary, do we have another poll?
No, we're all wrapped up on the polls.
Okay. Let me go through some of the Q&A before we finish this call so that we can answer some things in depth. Actually, so the question was, let me try to find, let's see, what protocols can we virtualize from the DevTest portal? So right now, the answer is HTTP and HTTPS. So we're going to support HTTP and SSL. Keep that in mind. This is the first rendition of the new portal, so we pulled over probably the easier protocol to figure out how everything would lay out. Now that we have a baseline for that, things are going to come over much more quickly. One thing I want to point out is that as we move to messaging protocols and you know, even mainframe area, I'm going to be asking you all on the community to vote on which things move over first. So you're telling me, I'm not going to dictate to you. You're going to tell me which ones you want to move over first. So please come out there. When you see the polls, vote on the polls. I really listen to them, and we'll be moving over the right protocols that really mean something to you into the new DevTest UI. That'll definitely change the landscape here. Are there any verbal questions?
There's no audio questions at this time.
Okay, Chris or Ian, any comments or questions that you would like to pull out now, or are we good to go?
I think we're good to go. Hoping to see everybody at CA World.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this event. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Great. Chris, Ian, thank you. Thank you, Mary, for scheduling this call and getting all of our customers involved. We'll definitely be posting the deck out on the community after the call. I'll send it over to Mary, and she'll post it out there. So I do appreciate you all joining today. And if you have any questions, respond to us out on the community. That's the best way to get in touch with us right now. I think our team is out there every minute. We know what's happening. Tag us in your post if you have a question for one of us individually. We'll be happy to respond. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate the time today. Talk to you all soon.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining today's conference call. You may now disconnect your line.